Hello, welcome to another video from the Animal University channel. Let's go for the video. Bear. Bear, family Ursidae, any of 8 species of large short-tailed carnivores found in the Americas, Europe, and Asia. The sun bear, Hylarctos malayanus, is the smallest, often weighing less than 50 kilograms, 110 pounds. The largest bear is either the Kodiak bear, Ursus arctos middendorfi, a subspecies of Alaskan brown bear, see also grizzly bear, or the polar bear, Ursus maritimus, depending upon which measurements are considered. Either of these bears can weigh up to 720 kilograms, 1,600 pounds. The black bear, Ursus americanus, is common in parts of the United States and Canada. Bears are generally omnivorous, but dietary preferences range from seals for the entirely carnivorous polar bear to assorted vegetation for the largely herbivorous spectacled bear, Tremarctos ornatus. The giant panda, Ailuropoda melanoleuca, eats only bamboo. Usually gaining weight beforehand, most bears sleep fitfully through much of the winter, but they do not truly hibernate. Despite their bulk, most bears climb with ease and swim strongly. Natural history. Ursids are mainly animals of northern temperate regions and are found farther north than any other mammal. The Arctic fox is found as far north on land, but the polar bear regularly roams on sea ice hundreds of kilometers from shore. Africa and Australia lack bears entirely. The spectacled bear of South America's Andes Mountains is the only bear species that lives south of the equator. Although clumsy in appearance, bears can move surprisingly fast, even through dense cover that would seriously impede a human or a horse. Their senses of sight and hearing, however, are poorly developed, and most hunting is done by smell. Some, such as black bears and spectacled bears, are strong climbers, and all are strong swimmers, most notably the polar bear. Bears do not generally communicate by sound and usually are quiet, but they do growl at times when feeding, when being challenged by another bear or by humans, and when competing for mates. Except for the carnivorous polar bear and the vegetarian giant panda, ursids are omnivorous, consuming many items that seem small for an animal of such large size. Ants, bees, seeds of trees, roots, nuts, berries, insect larvae such as grubs, and even the dainty dogtooth violet are eaten. Many bears relish honey, and the sun bear is sometimes called the honey bear because of this. Prey taken by bears includes rodents, fish, deer, pigs, and seals. Grizzlies, a North American subspecies of the brown bear, Ursus arctos, are known for their skillful fishing during the spawning runs of salmon. The polar bear's diet is dictated by the Arctic environment, as little vegetation grows within its range. The Asian sloth bear, Molursus ursinus, delights especially in raiding and destroying termite nests, sucking up termites and larvae with its funnel-like lips. The giant panda has a special bone formation of the forefoot that functions as a 6th digit. It is opposable to the other 5 and thus is useful in handling bamboo. Most bears, including the American and Asiatic black bears, Ursus americanus and U. tibetanus, eat large amounts of food before entering a den for a period of deep sleep during the winter. The polar bear digs a den in the snow, whereas grizzlies build large mounds of dirt in front of their dens. Bears, however, lack the physiological characteristics, lower heart rate, body temperature, breathing rate, and blood pressure, exhibited by animals that truly hibernate. Male polar bears sometimes congregate, but otherwise bears are solitary except during the mating season. Then they tend to congregate, pair off, and mate in seclusion. The male leaves the female soon after mating and plays no role in raising the young. Gestation periods vary, the fertilized egg remaining dormant in the uterus, delayed implantation, which ensures the birth of young while the female is in the winter den and guarantees that the cubs will emerge from the den in the spring, when food is abundant. Ursids breed once per year at most, and many bears breed only every 2 to 4 years. The breeding season is usually in late spring or early summer. Delayed implantation results in most births occurring in January or February. Newborn bears weigh about half a kilogram, 1 pound, and are about 23 centimeters, 9 inches long from the nose to the tip of the short tail. Twins are most common in bears, but up to 5 young may be produced. The cubs nurse for a few months and stay with the female until the next breeding, about a year and a half or more after birth. Most young, however, can get along on their own by about 6 months of age. Bears reach breeding condition at 3.5 to 6 years of age, males usually maturing later than females. Longevity of bears in the wild ranges from 15 to 30 years, but in captivity they can live considerably longer. Because of their large size, bears have few natural enemies in the wild. Most mortality occurs because of hunting by humans. On occasion, bears that fail to accumulate enough fat to last throughout the winter may die of starvation. Young bears are more vulnerable to predation because of their smaller size and thus may be killed by other carnivores such as wolves or cougars, but most importantly by other bears, especially males. For this reason, females with cubs are highly protective of their young in the vicinity of males. Home ranges occupied by individual bears vary in size depending on the abundance of food, and larger areas are used when food is in short supply. Although highly variable among geographic areas and even among seasons, American black bears roam areas of 40 to 200 square kilometers, 15 to 77 square miles, grizzlies about 300 to 700 square kilometers, 115 to 270 square miles. Some polar bears trek across ranges of more than 125,000 square kilometers, 48,000 square miles. Importance to humans. If taken when young, bears can be tamed quite easily, and they were once used commonly in circus animal acts. This practice often caused people to consider bears as tame and harmless rather than as potentially dangerous creatures deserving wariness and respect. This mistake has frequently resulted in tragedy for both humans and bears. Grizzly and polar bears are the most dangerous, but Eurasian brown bears and American black bears have also been known to attack humans. Some species depredate livestock on occasion, and some ursids, such as Asiatic and American black bears, may destroy fruit or other crops, especially corn. The pelts of bears have been used for a number of purposes. Perhaps most popular has been the bearskin rug. Skins also have been used for fashionable articles of clothing. The meat of black and polar bears often is consumed. The teeth and claws of bears have been favorite ornaments among Native American peoples, and the fat furnishes bear grease, which is used for cooking. The gallbladders of Asian bears are greatly valued in Asia for pharmaceutical purposes. Form and function. In most species, the male is larger than the female. Unlike cats and canids such as dogs and wolves, bears walk in plantigrade fashion, on the soles of their feet with the heels touching the ground. Each foot has 5 digits ending in large non-retractile claws that are sometimes adapted for digging, as in the Asian sloth bear. The claws on the front feet are usually better developed than those on the rear, and they are especially adapted for digging out small rodents or nutritious plant roots. The feet generally have hairless soles, but those of the polar bear are covered with hair, enabling the animal to walk on ice with a firm footing. Bears lack a clavicle but have a baculum, penis bone. Their lips are protrusible and mobile. All have a short stubby tail. Bears have an elongate skull that is especially heavy in the back portion, and their jaws are controlled at the hinge by a powerful set of muscles. The teeth of the omnivorous bears are unspecialized. The first 3 premolars are usually either missing or extremely small. Except for variability as to the presence of premolars, the ursid dental formula is that of the carnivora generally, but the sloth bear lacks 1 pair of upper incisors. The shearing teeth, carnassials, are poorly developed, and the molars have broad, flat crowns. Conservation status. Most bears are considered vulnerable species by the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. Only the American black bear and the brown bear are considered species of least concern. The other 6 species are under threat because people hunt them for various reasons and their habitats have been reduced to fractions of their historical extent. Poachers seek out some species, such as Asiatic black bears and sun bears, for their gallbladders and other parts, which are sold in wildlife markets. Live Asiatic black bears are captured for the pet trade and circus acts. Other bears, such as sloth bears and spectacled bears, are under threat because they have either attacked people directly or have come into conflict with humans over crops and livestock. Evolution and classification. The bear family is the most recently evolved lineage of carnivores. Its ancestral line appears to have diverged from canid stock during the late Miocene epoch, 23 million to 5.3 million years ago, and to have developed into modern species through such Pliocene, 5.3 million to 2.6 million years ago, forms as Hyanarctos of Europe, Asia, and North America. Studies of mitochondrial DNA, mtDNA, performed during the early 21st century showed that black bears, brown bears, and polar bears diverged from one another some 4 million to 5 million years ago, early in the Pliocene epoch. Additional genetic evidence suggests that polar bears and brown bears bred extensively with one another as late as 100,000 years ago, and that nearly 10% of the genomes of modern brown bears can be traced to polar bears. There was much disagreement over the classification of giant pandas. Mammalogists place giant pandas with bears, family Ursidae, with raccoons, Procyon, or with the red, or lesser, panda, Ilurus fulgens, in Iluridae. However, molecular analyses performed during the 1990s revealed a close evolutionary relationship between giant pandas and bears. I hope you enjoyed this video enough and it was informative. Please like the video and subscribe the channel. Introduce us to your friends. Good luck to you all.